I wanted to point out the fact that the presentation I'll be working from is available on my website for download right now, no extra charge, and that's streaminglearningcenter.com. And if you scroll down to the learning section here, you'll see technologies for live streaming to multiple platforms. Click that to see another picture of me, and then here's the download. So go to the website, streaminglearningcenter.com. Scroll down. Here's what it looks like when you get there. Scroll down to the learning section. Click either the image or the text. I guess click the image. That'll take you to this page, and then you can download the PDF here. Everybody got that? Anybody have trouble logging on to the Wi-Fi? Okay. Okay, so thank you for coming. I'm Jan Ozer. For the next 45 minutes, we'll be discussing technologies for streaming to multiple platforms. You know, by way of background, we've been doing live streaming for a while, and new platforms have opened up that made it really attractive to want to distribute to multiple platforms at the same time. So you might use a service like Livestream, but you still want to go out to Twitter, you still want to go out to Facebook Live, you still want to go out to YouTube Live. And what we're going to discuss today are ways you can do that. And my little mind map, kind of when I was thinking this through, you know, I kind of categorized the different approaches into the categories that you see here. And this is kind of an outline of what we'll be covering. So we'll start out with devices. There's two there. A Matrox device, a Monarch product that allows you to stream to two services simultaneously. And then for higher density applications, we'll look at the Teradek TRex. Then we'll look at software, specifically Wirecast, although other programs in that category can stream to multiple platforms as well. And then we'll look at live streaming platforms themselves, Livestream, Streambox, Streamshark, and another one, Boxcast, that I recently covered for Streaming Media Magazine that also does that. And then we'll look at distribution platforms that are actually created to allow you to stream to multiple platforms. And switchboardlive is a service, Teradek Core is a service, and then we have Wowza, which is a developer-oriented product. So if you want to do it yourself, that's an alternative for doing it. And then we'll look at, you know, distribution platforms are typically limited to doing switching. And then we'll look at production platforms, which are probably the most exciting platforms because they give you the ability to, in the case of EasyLive, give you the ability to actually produce events online. You know, you send just a camera without a mixer to an event, and the video comes up online, and then you can put titles on, you can put a scoreboard on. So you can actually do the production in the cloud. You have your production people in a centralized facility rather than shipping a TriCaster out to a location. And that I think is going to be the wave of the future. Now, what we're going to do for each product or service is we're going to identify what the product is, we're going to discuss the feature set, and then I sent a list of questions to the vendors. You know, who's using you, why are they using you, what are your advantages over other products in the category, what are the advantages of this category as compared to other categories. So that's kind of what we're going to be going through over the next 40 minutes or so. And there's a couple of rules to live by that I just think you need to understand. Facebook is, if you develop using the Facebook Live API, you can't stream simultaneously using API level interfaces to Facebook Live and somewhere else. So what's that mean? It means that if you're using some of these products and you use the API level to stream to Facebook Live, you're not going to be able to use the API level to stream to YouTube Live. The workaround that is to just use a generic RTMP-based interface. But as far as I know, you can't stream to, say, YouTube Live and Facebook Live simultaneously. If you try and do that on a product like TellStream Wirecast, it'll say, we can't do this, because they had to do that in order to write to the Facebook Live API. Not a big deal, just something, you know, I wanted you guys to be aware of. So our first category are hardware devices that stream directly to one or more services. And we're going to talk about two products, the Matrox Monarch HDX and the Teradek TRex, or three products, excuse me, the Teradek TRex and then the Lightspeed LiveStream from TellStream. And I know that Teradek and TellStream are here at the show, and I'm sure they'd be glad to talk to you about these products. Starting with the Matrox Monarch, I wrote a review of that product that's available at the bit.ly link that you can see. You know, ran the product through its paces pretty well if you want to read a full review of that particular product. And here's what it looks like from an I/O perspective. And what you see is that you've got two separate inputs for both HDSDI and HDMI on the back, and you've also got two Ethernet connectors if you want to do that as well. On the front, you see some USB ports, and those USB ports are for local storage. That can be any kind of USB hard drive. You also see an SD card slot, so you can record video in the SD slot while you're producing your video, streaming out the Ethernet port. So you've got two encoders in this product, and you can use it in a couple different ways. If you want to stream to two different services, you can stream to two different services. If you want to record one version locally, you can use that input, store that locally to the SD card, and then stream the other one. So you can share the input that way. So it's a pretty flexible product. If you want to do one at 3 megabits a second to go out to YouTube Live, and you want to do one at 10 megabits per second for your own internal network, you can do that as well. I'm sorry, say it again?
HDMI input, it doesn't have, it can't be HDCP, right?
I'm sorry, it can't be what?
Encrypted content?
I'm just not here.
It can handle HDCP.
Say it again?
HDCP.
I'm sorry, can the input be HTTP in the HDMI? Oh, sorry. I don't know. Why don't you email me and I'll see if I can find that out. So these are the questions that I sent to Matrox and their responses. Who's the typical customer? And it's a wide variety of users, as you would expect. Why do you want to use an appliance rather than a cloud service? We're going to be discussing cloud services towards the end of the presentation. And they talk about some of the primary use cases. You can stream primary and backup server destinations for redundancy. That's nice. You can stream locally at a high bit rate and send a lower quality stream to your CDN. That's also nice. Obviously, that you can stream to different services. That's kind of why we're here. What key features differentiate your product from others in the same category? Two independent encoders. So there's not a lot of hardware devices in the $2,000 price range that have two separate encoding capabilities. It also has a nice feature, SDI power loss. So if something happens to the unit, the SDI signal will be routed through the box. So it'll go out the other side, and you can continue to use the signal with another encoder. So that's kind of nice. And then it also has closed caption capability if that's important for you. And the hardware, as I said, costs about $2,000. And Matrox does a very good job with their marketing, and they've got some case studies. If you're interested in understanding how companies or other organizations are using these, you can check out the case studies here. So that's that's a two output unit, two inputs, two outputs. And the Teradek TRex is a rack-mounted system that gives you the ability to, I think it's up to 8 different either encoder cards or decoder cards. So you can stream out to 8 different destinations if you choose to do so. Who's the typical customer? This is not necessarily that expensive, but I mean, it's not a $2,000 product. I mean, it starts at $3,500, and each hardware encoder or decoder is $1,500, so you can get up pretty quickly in overall price. So it is enterprise and broadcast companies who are using it. And this is kind of interesting. Why do you want to use an appliance like this rather than sending a stream to the cloud and doing it there? So some of their customers are primarily concerned with security. They don't want to use a cloud service. They want to go directly to they don't want to split in a cloud service. They want to go directly to Facebook Live or to YouTube Live or the service they're going to. And a lot of others don't like the subscription payment models for cloud services. Obviously, if you pay for the hardware, then you can stream directly, and there's no subscription cost to the different services. And the key feature here, I think, is just dense. If you need a lot of encoders to go out, the TRex is probably the most dense solution that we've seen. Again, the hardware costs $3,500 for the rack-mounted system itself, and every encoder and decoder in the card in the case costs $1,500. And you can see some case studies or a case study at the URL shown. And this is a full 4-channel encoder called LightStream LiveStream from TellStream. And this goes a little bit further than what we've seen from the products up until this point. And the key differentiating feature of this product is it's 4 HDI inputs that you can use either separately or combine them together for 4K input. And it's also a full production encoder. So if you wanted to output dash or HLS files in multiple streams, you can do that with this product, and you can't do that with any of the other products. And what you pay for that is cost. I mean, it's a $50,000 device. But if you're looking for a way to do full packaging of HLS in real time with up to 4 channels, then this is it's a nice system. Who are their customers? Again, it's big companies, media and entertainment companies, corporations, government agencies, and educational facilities. So those were the hardware products, and you should be aware that products like Wirecast and also in this class vMix give you the ability to select multiple outputs from one particular software program. So if I'm streaming with Wirecast, I can go out to Facebook Live, I can go out to YouTube Live directly from Wirecast itself. It can create the separate streams and output those individually. What's the big negative of this approach? And what do we not like about something like Wirecast, or even something like the Matrox Monarch product that's got 2 separate outputs? What do we not like about that?
Single point of failure.
What else don't we like about that?
Your Windows-only software.
Well, Wirecast isn't, but Wirecast is actually Mac and Windows, but vMix is Windows only. I mean, if you're sitting, if somebody calls you up and says, we want you to stream this live event, we want you to send it to 2 services, and you carry your laptop out of there, what are you really worried about? Pardon?
Laptop.
That's another. This approach is terrible. Why did I even? What am I trying to get to? This Socratic method's not working effectively. But the big thing for me is bandwidth. So if I'm going to stream 2 separate streams to YouTube Live and to Facebook Live, I'm going to want to send a 2 or 3 megabit per second stream out to both services, or maybe even higher. If 720p, it would be 2 or 3. 1080p, if you want to try that, it's going to be 5 or 6 per service. And if you try and do that, I don't know what kind of luck you've had. I mean, the last place I tried to do a live stream from had 600 kilobits per second output. I ended up using 4G to get it out. So the big negative of any kind of approach that consolidates multiple streams out is that you've really got to worry about your bandwidth. Whenever I go to a live event, my main concern is outbound bandwidth. How do I get the signal out of the building? And if you do Wirecast or any of the products we've talked about up until this point, you're doubling or tripling the requirements to get it out of the building. And that's the big advantage of the cloud products that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. You get one high-quality signal out to the cloud, and then they do the splitting and the routing, and that's the big advantage. who's the typical customer for Wirecast? Wirecast, who here has used Wirecast? I mean, it's a very popular piece of software. A lot of people, I don't think Snoop is using it for his latest game show, but he's obviously used it before. And why use Wirecast rather than splitting via cloud service? Again, the subscription pricing, one interface to learn, deeper API integration with each of the individual services, and latency. So they're saying, you add a level of latency because you're doing splitting in the cloud. Anybody use splitting in the cloud? Anybody tried that? Do you have latency issues, or is that not a concern for you?
Not a concern for us.
Pardon?
It's not a concern.
Okay. Anybody?
I didn't notice too much problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think, everybody hates latency, but for most events, unless you're running some kind of betting event or, an event, 5 to 10 seconds or even 15 to 20 seconds is not going to be a huge deal. I mean, if you're running an online auction or you're using a gaming site, yeah, that's a big deal. But for most live productions, I don't think latency is going to be a big issue. And then what features differentiate Wirecast from other products? It is cross-platform. I've used it on both Mac and Windows. It is a pretty easy-to-use program. They've got good support, and then deep integration with the services make it really simple to use the product and connect to Facebook Live or to YouTube Live. And the software is actually pretty affordable. The software only is $495 for the studio version and $995 for the pro version. And TellStream started offering bundled hardware and software, so you can avoid the laptop issue that we talked about, or you can avoid having to configure your own system, which sometimes things can go wrong. But they'll sell you a system that's turnkey. All the components were selected for capture and optimal CPU performance with Wirecast, and that's a good way to go if you don't want to try and configure your own system. So that's all our hardware and software. Those are the products you want to use if you want to send multiple streams out and you have the bandwidth to do it from from the location where you're streaming from. And again, bandwidth is always my first concern. So now we're looking at live streaming platforms, and the live stream is one of the first of these. And what they give you is the ability you send them a single live stream. You can enable playback on your own site. You can embed it on your own site. You can enable playback on the service itself, meaning in live stream. It's also a destination. And some of these platforms give the ability to also send a stream to Facebook Live and to YouTube Live. And the companies that we're going to talk about are LiveStream, Boxcast, StreamShark, and Streambox. And the key value proposition for these is if you're using LiveStream. Who here is using LiveStream for the live events? Anybody? Boxcast? Anybody? I mean, if you're using a service to stream your live event, if you can just use that service to send another stream out to the other service, then you're done. It's very simple. It's very affordable. And for LiveStream, if you're using LiveStream, this is a relatively new feature. You click simulcast, and then you basically configure in your parameters for Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or any custom RTMP destination. So if you're not streaming to one of these two services but are looking at other services, you can do that pretty easily.
There's a caveat to that. I found out in the middle of it. I don't know if I'm appropriate asking the question.
Well, you can't tell. You can't not tell us now. I mean,
if you stream to Facebook Live with LiveStream, you cannot simultaneously stream to an RTMP.
oh, really?
Facebook or YouTube.
See, I thought Facebook wasn't. I thought that was allowable because I've done that with Wirecast. And
That's for LiveStream.
okay. And I recently tested a product called Boxcast, and Boxcast gives you the ability to stream to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or any RTMP-based destination. So if you're using a live streaming service and you want to go out to Facebook Live or YouTube Live, check and see if they have this feature, because I'm sure if they don't, they probably will soon. And again, it's a very convenient way because you've already figured out how to get your video to the website, to get the live stream. Okay, so the next category we're going to talk about are distribution platforms. And now we're moving to a category that was pretty much designed to accomplish what it is you guys were here to figure out how to accomplish, which is to take a single stream in and distribute it to multiple platforms. And the only difference between distribution platforms and the live streaming platforms we're going to cover in a moment is that you've got limited ability to add things to the stream. This is really, it's a switching function with some ability to add titles and stuff, but it's not a full production system, which is what we're seeing with the final category. So the two products we're going to talk about are switchboardlive and Teradek Core, and then talk a bit about Wowza. So this is what switchboardlive is, and basically you've got the ability to input multiple streams from multiple sources and then do live switching of those streams to multiple destinations. And basically you see the destinations on the right, you just click, enter your credentials, and then you can route any incoming signal to any of those outbound destinations. Now, I see people taking pictures. The presentation is available for download now at streaminglearningcenter.com if you came in late. And it's just scroll down to here's streaminglearningcenter.com. Scroll down to, oops, sorry. Yeah, gotta go to the home page. So here's the page, scroll down to learning, and here you can download the handout. You can also download the handouts from yesterday here and here, if you haven't done so. Okay, so switchboardlive again, multiple inputs to multiple outputs. They give you branding, so you can add a logo or a watermark. That's nice. Obviously, they give you analytics and reporting. What's interesting when they talk about the brandable live event microsite, they're allowing people to say, okay, I want to give you the ability to distribute your video on my Facebook page or in my other service channels. So basically with switchboardlive, if you have individual customers that you're working with that they want to distribute the video that you're producing on their sites, you don't need their credentials. You can manage that via email or manage that via their logging into switchboardlive. And that's a nice service if if you've got clients that you are trying to syndicate video to multiple locations and those people really don't want to give you the credentials for Facebook Live or YouTube Live to get there. So that's kind of a nice feature. And then they've got a template of the ability to publish title and description metadata in real time, continuously or change it throughout the event. So there is some publishing capability here, not as extensive as what we're going to see with EasyLive, but you can do some things with metadata, and you can do some things with branding, logos, and watermarks. Who's your typical customer? They have different programs. If you're a small company, you just want to put out 2 or 3 streams, they've got packages for you. If you're a large company with multiple customers that you need to manage multiple inputs and multiple outputs to syndicated destinations, they have packages for that as well. And then here they're doing a lot of the discussions that we were making, a lot of the points that we discussed a few minutes ago. Why do you want to use a web service rather than individual encoders? The bandwidth costs at venues are typically charged at a premium. So if you're distributing from a trade show or a hotel, it can be very, very expensive to get the kind of bandwidth you need for multiple destinations. They also make the point that you don't have to send out multiple skilled operators to operate, again, the TriCasters or whatever you're going to use for live switching at the location. And then distinguishing their system from Wowza. Who here is using Wowza for live events? I mean, I've worked with Wowza. It does a nice job, but it can get complicated. And it's not really what switchboardlive is saying is, we made our system so that marketing people can use it. You don't really need to send a techie you may want to set it up with a technical person, but a marketing person should be able to do most of the operations on the site with the live stream. And the features that distinguish them from other products in the category, this is what I talked about before, the ability to let the user share the stream on their Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch page or channel via email rather than needing credentials. The ability to start and stop publishing to live destinations independently. And most of this stuff we covered a moment ago, so let me not repeat it. But the ability to handle multiple inputs and multiple outputs and switch those, I think, is a pretty neat feature if you need that capability. And which platforms can you distribute to? Pretty much any RTMP-based live streaming destination and platform. If you're using the live stream solo to create your live streams, they've got API level integration there, which basically means you can log in it's a lot simpler. And they've got other integrations coming. They've got solutions, as I said, for smaller companies. They've got some free plans, and then others that start at $25 a month. So this was the first custom-built product I ever looked at that actually was designed to support streaming to multiple platforms. And they were originally called Joycaster, and if you Google my name and Joycaster, you can read a review of that system that I wrote maybe a couple of years ago. And they recently changed the name to switchboardlive, which I think is a great, Joycaster kind of means nothing, but switchboardlive is a really good name for what it is that they're doing. And here's their pricing model. Again, they have free plans, and they have plans starting at $25 a month. So I asked some of the companies to put together product descriptions and videos that kind of talk about what the products do, and Teradek is one of the companies that did that. I haven't tested the audio, so you may want to, in the back, you may want to. Okay. I think we should be hearing something. Yeah, it's not going through the system. Is there anything up here we need to do? When I pull it out. Yeah, I looked at that.
Can you let it play all the time? On the dashboard here, I have my sources on the left. This will be your codecs. As you see, I have some Teradek cubes. Walkthrough here of the Teradek Core fleet management system. You can access Core on any web browser as long as you have internet connection. So whether you're using Safari or Chrome, you can simply type in core.teradek.com and be able to log in from there. So I'm going to go over a quick overview of some.
Okay. We are frozen. Okay, I'm gonna have to reboot it, looks like. It's pretty sexy. Technology,
All right, we're going to do a quick walkthrough here of the Teradek Core fleet management system. You can access Core on any web browser as long as you have internet connection. So whether you're using Safari or Chrome, you can simply type in core.teradek.com and be able to log in from there. So I'm going to go over a quick overview of some of the main features. As you see on the dashboard here, I have my sources on the left. This will be your codecs. As you see, I have some Teradek cubes in there. I also have a slice. On the right, you have your destination. So you have decoders. This can be cube or slice decoders, or TRex or MPEG transport stream. You also have your channels, which include CDNs like Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, Ustream, and of course a custom RTMP. What I'm going to show you is the easy drag and drop UI that we've been able to make with the new Core dashboard here. I simply dragged over a Cube 205, one of my encoders, and I'm going to set it to a destination. I want to have this codec go to Facebook Live. I also want to send one over to YouTube. And why not? Let's put over custom RTMP. In addition, I could send it to MPEG transport stream, or if I had any physical decoders, I could do that as well. And if you had multiple destinations that you like to manage, you can also set them up as groups. Once they're all in here, I can hit go live on each destination. I can also start recording from here. And the beauty of this is with your encoders, you only need to send one main stream up to Core. From there, Core will be able to redistribute the video stream over various resolutions and bit rates by transcoding in the cloud. So if each destination has a different requirement, you can do so. Just to show you a little bit more into the inventory, so in addition to routing your video signals, you can also manage your details and settings of your codecs. If you go in here, you can monitor your data rate, drop frames if you have any, and your video bit rate. In addition, you can actually change your settings via the cloud. So you don't have to actually be locally connected to your device as long as you are connected to the internet via Core, and of course your codecs are connected via Core as well. As you'll see if you are familiar with Teradek's workflow, we have the Sputniks, which are the backbone to Core. These are hosting all the devices as well as demuxing all the video. You can monitor it as well as manage it from here. And lastly, I'll show you the Channels tab. This allows you to add channels, again, any CDN you like, Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope. These are a few natively integrated as well as custom RTMP. And lastly, just to show you here, if you are working with a group or you have an organization, you can set up multiple profiles giving certain permissions like admin or just user profiles. So this has been a quick look at the Teradek Core fleet management system. If you'd like further information, visit teradek.com or give us a call. Thanks for watching.
And Teradek is here at the show, and I'm sure they'd be.
All right, we're going to do a quick.
Oh, just once.
How is that different from Boxcast or some of the other CDNs?
I'm sorry, different. How is that different from who? Boxcast?
For example, right?
So Boxcast is, good question. Boxcast is single input in, multiple destination out. And what you're seeing there is the ability to input multiple inputs and then switch them to different locations. So if you're a big company, you've got a lot of different Teradek encoders, that's basically your routing system in the cloud for all those encoders. He talked about the ability to, if you've got a Teradek unit back there sending a signal from here, you can also change the configuration of that unit remotely via this service. So it does a lot of the stuff that you'd see with Boxcast or LiveStream, but it does a lot more as well with multiple inputs and multiple outputs, as well as the ability to set up channels. I mean, it's a much more functional product, and it's more expensive as well. Does that answer your question? So Teradek Core, who's your typical customer? Again, bigger companies, sometimes churches. Why use a web service rather than encoding with individual hardware? You see the answers, and then how is this different from Wowza? You know, I think they designed this as a, who uses Teradek encoders? You know, he called it codecs, and what he really meant was encoders. And if you, basically they built this to manage Teradek encoders that were out there and used by organizations for different purposes. So I think it's, you know, their ability, and that's why it's so well integrated with their encoders. And then here's the pricing structure. You know, it starts at $49 a month, so it's actually pretty affordable. That's one encoder, one decoder, which gives you the functionality like live stream. If you want to go to the multiple encoders, multiple decoders, it's 5 of each for the $249 a month. And now the last category we're going to talk about are actual production platforms that input the stream or streams, edit it and process it in some way, and then they deliver the output. I reviewed EasyLive. I don't know if I put the URL in here. Hopefully I did. If not, you can Google my name and EasyLive, and you'll see what that looks like. And this is kind of a brief schematic about what happens. You send the video up, and once the video is up, you can add things like scoreboards, you can add things like graphics, you can add things like titles. You can substitute in still images. You can substitute in VOD assets that you've uploaded to the cloud. And this is from the review. On the left, you know, here's the incoming video, and it's just a single stream of video. And you see the ability to put a lower third title over here. You see the ability to integrate Twitter feeds into the signal here. And you see the ability to create titles and insert other graphics into the signal here. So they really, they don't have the ability to do live camera switching. You know, you can switch, but it's not as seamless as you get with the TriCaster. But I think they're getting close to that. And the advantage there is, again, you can stream multiple streams up into the cloud, do the switching without having a TriCaster there. You've got, your production people can be anywhere they can access the cloud. You don't have to send them out to the football game or the soccer match or whatever to be on location there. They can do this from anywhere they can access. And then here's, I'm not sure how this is going to play. Let me. Let me give it a try. Okay, there's a video here. I'm going to try to play it when.
So this is the demo of the EasyLive platform. So first, let's have a look at the workflow. So basically, you can ingest whatever you want. We can pull or we can push the RTMP. We are compatible with any kind of encoders, so it could be hardware or software. When we get the feed, the first step, we are going to protect and secure your feed, because if the ingest goes down, we detect it and we trigger automatically a media to replace it, to guarantee a permanent delivery to the platform where you are currently publishing. So like this, we guarantee that your feed will never go down, even if your source is broken. Next step, you can add any kind of graphic, template, do live clipping on the fly. Regarding the quality, we support up to 4K, and you can schedule all your events and add any kind of metadata. In terms of output, you can go to multiple pages or multiple platforms at the same time. So here in this example, I'm publishing right now to Twitch and 2 different pages on Facebook. Now let's have a look a closer look to the way the platform works. So we have a preview window where everything is drag and drop, and so you can like add everything on the fly very easily, and you hit apply to make it basically appear on the right side. So you can do whatever you want in terms of graphic. You can add like logo, banners, overlay, even HTML integration, Facebook polling service, etc., etc. There is really no limitation whatsoever in terms of graphic. You can do live clipping on the fly. So basically, when you do live clipping, you can clip on the fly the past 25 seconds. So you can basically publish that directly to your favorite social destination, or you can edit very easily, like entry point, output point. You can be second or frame accurate and really generate the exact sequence of your choice. You can do also DVR. So the DVR works a bit differently. You start an entry point, and basically you just start a recording, and it's up to 2 hours. You can do 4 at the same time. So like this, you can really record all the sub-elements of your live event on the fly. And when this one is generated, exactly the same, you can publish wherever you want to, download it, change the metadata. You can upload it to the media assets. So basically you can do instant replay, for example, etc., etc. Regarding the publishing side, so you can go to multiple destinations. We don't have any limit in terms of platform that you can reach. You can go to through an OAuth to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., etc. And when I say Twitter, it's Periscope TV. And you can also go to any custom RTMP destination. So Ozer, Akamai, any CDN, basically of your choice. To add on the fly new publishers, it's very easy. You just hit the plus button and you choose basically in the list where you want to go next. So for example, if I want to add this page on the fly, you just hit select, and there you go. You see, I initiate the communication with the new platform. So very easy basically to add on the fly or to remove on the fly publishers. And for example, here with Facebook, you see you have the list of all the accounts where you are authorized to publish content. Then you have here the same for Twitch, YouTube, Dailymotion, Dacast, Twitter, or custom RTMP. So very easy to use.
Okay, so the couple points he made that are worth going over, the live DVR features is actually pretty sexy. So you could, in the context of a presentation like this, you could, we're going to have 5 presentations in here today. You could have one stream going up to EasyLive, recording that, doing any production that you want to it, titles, graphics, anything like that. And then once each presentation is done, it can, you can stream it live, but you can also make it available instantly on demand. So if you're streaming like a day of courses or a day of presenters or a, multiple, a concert with multiple bands or something, use EasyLive, and then you've immediately got VOD assets after that particular act or after that particular class is done. So it's a pretty cool system. A lot more functional than what you're seeing with the Teradek Core and the Switchboard Live, which just aren't designed with those capabilities in mind. So who's your typical customer? I spoke to a soccer club who was using them, talked about some of the benefits that I just described. Why use a web service rather than individual encoders? Save bandwidth, and it's cheaper than multiple hardware encoders. We saw some of those price tags get pretty pricey. Why your system instead of Wowza? A lot of the additional features that we talked about, including graphics, generating clips, picture-in-picture. The other thing he talked about was if the stream goes down, you can immediately sub in a VOD asset. So you upload a VOD asset before your event. If your stream goes down for any reason, and that happens, frequently enough, it can immediately switch to that VOD asset. They can say, hey, the stream's interrupted, we'll be back when we can, or even just a VOD asset you want to play while you're trying to get the stream back running. And pricing starts at around $2.99 a month, and obviously, as you saw, they can distribute to any platform that can support RTMP.
Question, with the DVR, is it possible to schedule a retransmission? I mean, I know you said it's available on demand.
Good question. So is it possible to schedule to rebroadcast? I don't know that. I don't. Why don't you send me an email? I can send it to Philippe and see. And then the final company is a company called Groovy Gecko. That's kind of a platform and a service provider. So with EasyLive, it's basically software as a service. There's no, if you need a camera person or if you need production assistance, they're not going to give it to you. Groovy Gecko, I think, they're a company that can do both the production for you and provide some of the platform capabilities. And this is a promo video. It's kind of fun, but it doesn't describe how the technology works. It's just kind of a flashy thing that we really don't have time for. So, I think this is who's your typical customer? They're in the UK. It's large corporations and large brands who want to create experiences and engagement. So basically, what they're selling is the ability to create the event for you, publish it for you with some nice features, and also guarantee engagement via social media. And this is a UK company, but there are US companies that do this kind of thing as well. If you need service providers, then you have to look beyond a company like EasyLive. You need to find companies that got both production and the platform to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And here's the features of their platform: real-time clipping and DVR, graphics and text overlay. They can monetize via ads, monetize via pay-per-view, and they also supply DRM. What got me to them was their Facebook Live API. They're listed as one of the key providers in the Facebook Live API page. And this again, because it's service provider and platform, it's going to be charged on a per event basis, and their pricing started at around £3,000 per event, and then probably went much higher after that. And then you see can they access Facebook Live? Yes. Can they stream to multiple Facebook Live pages simultaneously? Yes. YouTube Live? Yes. Periscope? Yes. And can they embed on your customer's page as well as a page on their service? The last they don't offer. They're basically just publishing on their customer sites, and that's it. So that's we've got time for a couple of questions if there are any. Yes?
Can any of the platforms you mentioned besides browser do transcoding or packaging?
Good question. Can any of the platforms do packaging and transcoding? I mean, you would think I would know that. Send me an email, because I'm pretty sure they're all sending out an adaptive stream, but I'm not 100% sure. And if they're sending out adaptive stream, obviously they're doing both transcoding and packaging. But pardon?
Core does.
It does? What, it supports HLS and Dash, or do you know?
HLS for sure.
Okay, so Core, anybody know for any of the other services? I know that Boxcast and LiveStream do packaging. They do transcoding. They take in a single stream, and I think Boxcast outputs like 5 streams. So I know they're doing it, but I don't know what. It's probably in the. I'm sure I covered it in the EasyLive article, but it's not coming back to me. Send me an email, and I'll tell you what I know.
Big concern I have with Facebook Live, that is, if our encoding gets interrupted, then it creates a VOD and we lose all that virality of the original post. You mentioned EasyLive can keep that stream alive and substituting content. Is there anything else, any of these other services that can do that as well?
Not that I recall offhand, but send me an email and I'm pretty good buds with the guys who run it, and I can get that question answered pretty quickly. Anything else? Right here.
Yeah, I was wondering whether I can plug my own custom encoder in any of these services. Let's say if I have an accelerator or a better quality encoder, do some of these have provisions for that?
I want to say everyone can do it, except I'm not 100% sure with Core, but I'm guessing it could, as long as your encoder can access, or, can push out an RTMP or connect to an RTMP server, I'm sure it can connect to any of these services.
Like talking about Core, Core will only accept an MPEG-2 transport stream. It won't accept.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's because they're, as I talked about, they're more set up to support Teradek hardware than the other ones are all, they're going to be very friendly to third-party hardware and software encoders, but Teradek was the only one I thought might have some kind of limit. Okay, last question.
So my workflow
Just
entails-
hang on one second.
So my workflow entails long-form events, 8 to 10 hour long, uninterrupted events.
Uninterrupted?
Uninterrupted, yeah,
Oh,
trust
goodness.
me, long, and multiple days like that. My biggest challenge is conversion from that live stream to an on-demand asset versus in a quick turnaround. We're sometimes 2 and 3 days flipping that file for on-demand. I know LiveStream has a service where it's automatically on demand when you stop the live encoding
That's right.
process. Are there any other services out there like that that would be able to flip that quicker?
I mean, the service that feels most friendly to that was EasyLive, because they've got the ability to, you saw the DVR capability you talked about. So that would, your problem is most of the other services only create the VOD assets after you stop. And if you're, A, it's a big file, and B, it's, it's 8 hours later. So I would point you towards EasyLive. I think it's the only, it's designed to do that. The others may do it, but it absolutely does. Okay, thanks for your attention. Have a great show.